All right, class, it is your favorite time of day again, right? We're talking about math. Our learning target today is I understand the basic concepts of addition and subtraction. So hopefully we know this already, but what is addition? Addition is taking two or more numbers and adding them together, or finding the total, also known as sum, of two or more numbers. And there's a quick example. 24 plus 7 more would be 31. And what is subtraction? Subtraction is the act or process of taking one number away from another, also known as finding the difference. For example, 38 minus 7 would be equal to 31. Before we move on to, I'd say, more difficult concepts in addition and subtraction, or with larger whole numbers and decimals combined, let's take a step back and think about what we learned in our previous unit and how decimal amounts or whole numbers relate to money as well. $1, for example, is equal to one whole, right? $1 represents a whole number of 1. A dime is part of $1, right? It's less than a dollar. A dime represents 1/10. So one dime represents a decimal value of 1/10. Then we have a penny also. A penny is worth 1/100th. One penny represents a decimal value of 1/100th. Which of these two coins in particular is smaller or has less value? If you were thinking penny, you would be correct, right? A penny is worth 1/100th, whereas a dime is worth a tenth. So it takes 10 pennies or 10 hundredths to equal one dime or 1/10. So to answer that second question, we just did. How many pennies does it take to equal one dime? 10. What about $1? How many pennies or dimes does it take to equal $1? You don't have to guess, it's in the images below. $1 is equal to 100 pennies. That is 10 rows or 10 columns of 10 pennies each. For dimes, $1 is equal to 10 pennies, right? Dimes are larger than pennies. Dimes are worth 10 pennies each, so that's like saying this dime is worth 10 pennies, 2 would be 20 pennies, and so on. So 10 dimes together equals 100 cents or $1. Let's look at this on a place value chart. So in case there was any confusion about these place values here, $1 represents ones, right? The ones place, a whole number. Here's our decimal point. You can't forget that. If you are writing decimal numbers, you have to have your decimal point in there. A tenth is like dimes, right? One dime is equal to a tenth. And pennies, one penny would be equal to 1/100th. So let's use this knowledge and the information we reviewed to answer a couple questions on this slide. So I have a certain amount of money on screen already. If you're reading those steps below, you should already know how much money is on screen, but if not, let's count and make sure. I've got $3 bills, so that's worth $3. I have a 3 in the ones place here. Then there's my decimal point. In the tenths place, I've got 5 dimes. How much is 5 dimes worth? What's that value? Well, if they're 10 cents each or a tenth each, I've got 5 tenths or 50 cents here. So that was our first step. Place 350 on the map. On the mat, and we did. So what's that amount on the mat? Easy enough, right? We have 350 here already. Exchanges needed? None, at least for now. Our next step is we need to remove $1.28, or if you think of that as a decimal number, 1 and 28 hundredths. So I've got a whole number of 1 there. I need to take one of these dollars away. I also need to remove 28 cents. So I can remove 1 dime, 2 dimes, that takes away 20 cents. But how do I remove the 8 cents? I can't take away another dime completely because that would take away another 10 cents. That would take away 30 cents total. We only needed to take away 2 from the tenths place. So I've done that. What about my pennies? Those are smaller. I could take away those 8 cents or 8 hundredths, but I don't have any pennies. Well, we already know that 1 dime is worth 10 pennies, right? So I'm going to remove this dime off the mat, and we're going to add pennies up here. So they're all kind of stacked on each other, but I've got 10 pennies there now, right? But that was just the exchange I did. I took away 1 dime, put 10 pennies in its place, because I still need to remove that 8 hundredths or 8 extra cents. So we're going to take away 8 of these. So how much is on the mat now? We subtracted or removed $1.28 or 1 and 28 hundredths. All that's left is 2 in the ones place, my $2. There's my decimal point. And how much change do I have? What's my decimal number? Well, I've got 2 dimes and 2 pennies, so I have 22 cents or 22 hundredths. So what exchanges were needed? We exchanged 1 dime for 10 pennies. Next step, let's add $1.40. So I need to add a dollar bill up here. All right, I've added the dollar. Now the 40 cents. I've got 1 dime, 2, 3, 4. So I added 40 cents now. And I still have my 2 pennies from before. So what's the new amount on this mat? I've got $1, $2, $3. There's my decimal point. And what is my decimal values of the decimal numbers or the change still remaining too? Let's see our dimes. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 cents right there, plus 2 pennies, so 62 cents or 62 hundredths. Did we need to do any exchanges? We just added money on the mat. We didn't have to exchange a dollar for coins or exchange a dime for pennies, so there were none. Next step, it says add 91 cents. So let's try. So I'm going to move these over a little bit to try and keep them on the mat in general, but I added 9 dimes or 90 cents here. They're all going to be stacked and messy for a bit, but I added 90 cents. I still need to add the hundredth or the 1 penny also. So if we have enough dimes to make $1, we need to do that. So it looks like we do need to make an exchange, right? How many dimes does it take to equal $1? If you remember from the previous slides, 10 dimes are equal to $1. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And those 10 dimes are equal to $1. So I'm going to bump this place value up, right? I've added another dollar over here. So what is the amount on the mat? I've got $4, decimal point, and how much change do I have? What's the decimal number? So dimes left are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each is worth 10 cents, so that's 50 cents, plus 3 more, so I've got 53 cents. What exchanges were needed? Well, we exchanged 10 dimes for $1. And our last step, remove $2.68. So I need to take off 2 of these dollars, 1 and 2, and I need to take away 68 cents. But what problem are we running into now? How many dimes do I have? There's only 5 here that make up 50 cents. If we include the pennies, that's still only 53 cents, but I need to remove 68 cents. So I'm going to have to exchange one of these dollars for dimes again, right? Lucky for us and me, I have all 10 of those dimes I removed earlier right here. I took away $1, exchanged it for 10 dimes. So now I've got extra dimes, but I'm also going to need to remove 8 cents. I only have 3 pennies there, so I'm going to have to exchange one of these dimes. I'm going to pull it back down, and we're going to add 10 pennies. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've added 10 pennies over here in exchange for that 1 dime. So again, I still need to remove the 68 cents. So we need to take away 6 dimes still. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I took away 6 dimes or 60 cents. And in that hundredths place, I had 8 more cents I need to take away, right? So let's take away 8 of these pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, what is the amount on the mat? On our place value chart here, I have $1. So my whole number is just 1. Here's my decimal point. And what's the change of the decimal value? Dimes, I've got, let's see, they're worth 10 cents each. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So I've got 80 cents there, or 8 in the tens place, and my pennies. In the hundredths, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. So I've got $1.85 left, 1 and 85 hundredths. Now, what exchanges did I have to make here? Had to make more than one, right? I exchanged dollars for dimes and a dime for pennies.